maybe trans. I don't want to even
Yeah.
say which is the hierarchy, but I would say Latino's not at the top. I'm
No.
not trying to say this because I'm Latino. Uh, they're pretty up there though, I guess. And then Jews fall pretty far down this ladder.
So do Asians.
Asians fall down on this ladder, and it's ridiculous. We're wondering why we have such a problem with intractable, just this divisions and hatred going on in this country. The universities aren't really helping. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're talking about Harvard, Ivy League schools, and anti-Semitism. By now, I'm sure you've seen the video of certain universities like Harvard, Penn, and MIT being questioned under congressional leaders and being asked the very simple question of, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate your institution's code of conduct? It's a very simple yes. Unfortunately, these professors couldn't answer that. And so what has been the fallout from this testimony, last week's testimony? Well, Harvard has lost over $1 billion in donations. UPenn has, by the way, all three universities said the next day, oh, it does violate our code of conduct. I don't think
Right.
alumni were very happy, and the public and politicians, leaders. So they backtracked, but I think the genie's out of the bottle. Several results and even as we speak, every day new things are coming out, including the loss of the job. University of Pennsylvania's president has resigned, and there's also been this kind of a scrutiny now around not only the president of Harvard, who has not stepped down as of this taping, but she has been under scrutiny for actual plagiarism charges and multiple. And so now Harvard has had to react. And, this is kind of not turning into a right versus left issue. This is kind of turning into a right versus wrong issue. A lot of Democrat donors are unhappy with Harvard and some of these Ivy League schools. And there's something else I want to bring out about this. I also want to mention that DEI has come under scrutiny. This is the idea of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which sounds wonderful. This idea of how do we address discrimination in the colleges and the universities, and we're going to do it through systematic enforcement, through hiring different resource people to look at this problem. But it looks like Jews need not apply. Jews are white people, and there are oppressed groups and there are victim groups. And Jews don't follow under the victim group status. Isn't that ironic? Jews, not victims in history? Okay. People are in deep trouble, and I think even DEI is in deep trouble. So anyway, there's something else I wanted to talk about, but what's your reaction to all this, Jacob?
Yeah, I was actually surprised when these three presidents from these universities went and sat in front of the congressional committee to talk about their policies regarding how they treat Jews, right, on campus. And there was this fallout after this, well, the war that's going on between Hamas and between Israel. And so these three ladies kind of stuck together, not kind of, they stuck together. They're saying, well, they were very evasive. And so when they went back to their universities, the universities obviously said, hey, we do not agree with you. Like you shared, Ruben, they say, wait, no. We do have policies, and yes, even verbiage that's downing Jews and so forth. We were not supporting that. And so not surprised that one of these presidents have stepped down. And of course, many people are calling for all three. I was not surprised that Claudine Gay, president of Harvard, is being looked into. What happens is that people are very smart. They start saying, you know what, if we can't look at, her present actions, there must be something in the past that she's done, and we're going to go ahead and investigate. It's not too hard to figure that out. That happens to all kinds of people, all types of people. And I know because she's African American, people are looking at it as a race thing. No, no, no. This is all has to do with her presentation in front of Congress, and now people are looking back into her background and saying, "Wait a minute, is this person really even qualified to be president of Harvard?" And so that's just something that happens to all people. It doesn't matter what color you are, and so forth. It's funny. Recently, Ruben, I'm not sure if you saw. I think it was on X with the gentleman who runs X, was named Elon Musk. He had something like, you know what, DEI must DIE, right? Which is, yeah, I mean, this is getting to a point where who's deciding what's the right color, what's the right, who makes it, who's making those decisions? Because I think because I'm Latino, maybe, I'm too white of a Latino. I don't know. And there's going to be a time where that happens. Well, maybe your color of your skin's not dark enough. I don't know. It just seems very silly. And this is being brought out because of what happened with these three presidents and a lot of ugliness. But yeah, it really was disturbing when I watched it.
Well, maybe not the charge of maybe the charge towards you will not be that you're not Latino enough. It's just that you're Latino and that there's a hierarchy of victimhood that people
There
have
you
a
go.
problem with.
You're
So
right.
that maybe trans. I don't want to even
Yeah.
say which is the hierarchy, but I would say Latino's not at the top. I'm
No.
not trying to say this because I'm Latino. Uh, they're pretty up there though, I guess. And then Jews fall pretty far down this ladder.
So do Asians.
Asians fall down on this ladder, and it's ridiculous. We're wondering why we have such a problem with intractable, just this divisions and hatred going on in this country. The universities aren't really helping. And then we saw it with this congressional testimony.
How about that mayor who had this whole party without allowing white people to be at this,
Well,
government?
that's different. Yeah,
But
yeah,
it has to do with race.
I know, but sure, there's a problem. She's probably been educated in one of these universities
And
and
she's married to a white
by
man.
DEI. But I do want to mention something about we did a video not too long ago about Harvard and freedom of speech. And so part of the problem is Claudine Gay, the president, as you mentioned, has suddenly become this free speech absolutist. Oh, we don't agree maybe with this speech calling for the genocide of Jews, but we allow all speech, even speech that we find egregious. No, you don't. Okay. We talked about speech that they hate and that they will persecute. For example, I mentioned Devin Buckley, who had personal views, didn't even make them part of the centerpiece of her lecture, which is canceled, which was going to be about poetry. I think Victorian or Romantic poetry. No, you have a personal beliefs, you're out. Kyle Kashev, the his his admission to Harvard was rescinded because he said something dumb as a 16-year-old. And you know what? Don't we all say something dumb? Now it might have, I think it had a racial implication to his statements. I haven't seen them, but he apologized. And those are egregious, horrible speech, Harvard. And then there's another interesting case of a Harvard professor named Ron Sullivan, who gave legal advice to Harvey Weinstein. Now, Harvey Weinstein is an awful individual. I'm not defending him, but everybody has a right to a trial to defend themselves. And so, because Ron Sullivan, an African American lawyer, gave him some legal advice, he was out. Claudine Gay said, no, some students are feeling unsafe by your presence at this school. And so, it reminds me of a time in middle school when I had a teacher, Mr. Folds, who showed us a video of Skokie, Illinois, of the ACLU defending the KKK. And I didn't understand that. I said, this is wrong. And this professor, very much on the left, liberal guy, said, no, everybody has a right to to not only a trial but freedom of speech. Say what you feel, as long as it's protected under the First Amendment. I know there's some examples we don't need to bring out because it's cliche, but there is protections for those, and Harvard is having none of it.
I think why it's important, Ruben, now is that because maybe you don't feel like it's not going to affect you, but in time they'll get to your group, the group that you support, and then you're going to say, wait, why aren't they letting my group speak? And it's because there's a long history of people shutting you down or choosing to shut you down. Oh, we're not going to make a big deal about Palestinians or Jewish, but we're going to make a big deal on whatever group that you support. So it's going to happen, and that's why we need to be, the Constitution is there to protect everybody. And even if we don't agree with certain groups having freedom of speech, no, everybody has freedom of speech. Everybody, period. So I mean, I'm hoping this will get more clear as days go on.
Well, we're hoping for a good outcome, and we're optimistic. Some people are not optimistic, but I am, and we're hoping to see some changes at the college level, even the high school level, to allow diversity of thought, not just diversity of background. But let's mix it up, everybody. What do you say? Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.